All right, good morning, everyone. Everyone can hear me and see the screen? Yes, thank you. This is our first Principal Coffee. We've had a great start to the school year, so we're excited to share what's going on. But we're going to start first with our parent organizations and how we can get involved. We're doing this at the top just because some people, once we get questions going, we don't get through all the information. So we can start with someone on from PTO.
Hey, it's Megan Grady. I can start. Hi, everyone. We looks like we have a bunch of people here from PTO today. I am the co-president this year, and we are currently in our membership drive period, and we'd love everyone to join PTO this year. Your membership supports so many day-to-day activities throughout our school, teacher support, we do the Rams report, which you hopefully are receiving every Sunday. If you have not signed up for Rams report, I urge you to do that. Um, we assist volunteers into the building. We organize volunteers. We do teacher appreciation lunches. We fundraise for school activities and so forth. So we urge you to become a member. There's a QR code here, or you can find it on our website under Family Life PTO. So we urge you to go there and become a member today. And and please reach out anytime you have a question or a idea or want to volunteer. President at how I'll put our website or our email address in the chat. But otherwise, we're glad for a great start to the school year, and we hope to see you guys all in the building one way or another this year.
Awesome. Thank you. For those who don't know, PTO does organize like school-wide things to help community come together, celebrate the teachers, because we all know that when teachers are happy, students are happy, and we really pride ourselves on making sure that we have a very inclusive environment where all parties feel included, staff, community, and students. And that is how you volunteer as well, because we communicate with them and they communicate with you all in order to ensure that we have volunteer opportunities for families. Okay, so next, we have boosters for those sixth grade or new families that are not accustomed to having boosters on the middle school level. If you check out our webpage, it has a lot of club and district athletic sports, and boosters helps us to ensure that we have maximum student participation where financial constraints are not barriers for that participation. And it also helps to create a feeder program to help us to integrate into Midtown High School and support athletics on the secondary space 6 through 12. And then foundations.
Hi, I'm Fontaine Lee. I'm the president of the David T. Howard Foundation this year. The foundation is a nonprofit helping students and teachers succeed by funding programs that are not covered by APS budgets. This really falls into four key investment areas: educational resources. This includes software that students use every day, like Schoology, Delta Math, BrainPop. Saturday School, which some of you may not be familiar with, but it's a great program that provides extra support to kids that, just need a little bit more individualized attention. Sometimes it's academic, sometimes it can be the social emotional learning support, but that's a program that actually Principal Hollis started for us here, and it's been very successful. Building enhancements. Now, these are long-term, solid enhancements, such as the audio system in the gym, the murals that you see around school. If it's something that a teacher wants for their particular classroom, that's more under PTO's purview. We're looking for things that really affect the entire, school population. And then professional development. And gives teachers an opportunity to, enhance their training, to go to conferences to learn about new techniques. I know that in the elementary schools, we had some teachers go to learn about Orton Gillingham to teach reading. And we've had teachers from Howard go for different conferences where they've been able to bring those learnings back and really enhance what they're able to bring to the kids. So we are heavy in our donation period right now. We have a goal this year of $150,000. We do need to, keep paying for the software because it's really important to us to give our teachers and students what they need. So there's a QR code. And if you ever have any questions, my email address is on the donor page for the website. So you can feel free to reach out to me anytime. Thank you, and hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you so much for those great introductions. I'm sure parents are trying to figure out how to get involved in the school, and working through these organizations are a great way to ensure that you are connected to what we do here. So next, everybody has been really interested in what our data looked like last year. And so we have our trend data here, and I'm going to allow our new master teacher leader that is supporting our ELA content go over the ELA data.
Hi, everyone. I'm Doris Williams. So this is our trend data, and it shows how our student performance in ELA has changed over the past 3 years. We'll start with 6th grade. We can see that fewer students are scoring in the beginning and developing ranges, but more students are scoring in proficient and distinguished, increasing from 33% in 2023 to 41% in 2025, and that is what we want to see. In 7th grade, the number in beginning and developing has stayed about the same, and we have more students reaching the proficient and distinguished compared to from 2023. We know we want them to grow more because we see that it was stagnant from 2024 to 2025. In 8th grade, we had a significant drop in students scoring beginning and developing from 2023 to 2025. We have a strong growth in proficient and distinguished, rising from 31% in 2023 to 46% in 2025. So this 3-year trend data shows overall that our students are trending in the correct direction. We want to help all students grow, and our goal for spring 2026 is to have 78% of students scoring proficient or higher on the ELA assessment. That's an increase of 5% from 2025. However, we will also be paying special attention to our specific subgroups so that we can make sure everyone succeeds. Thank you
for that, Ms. Williams. I also want to bring more voice to what she said. From 2024 to 2025, we did increase to 73%. So we met our goal overall as a school for an increase, and so I'm very proud of our teachers and our students. And our Lexile level actually increased by 1% from 83% students that read at or above grade level to 84%. So that is amazing. Great job to my ELA team. And next we will have Miss Moore, who's been with us for a couple of years. She's our master teacher leader. Her focus this year is math and social studies.
Everybody, my name is Marquita Moore. This is my third year at Howard. As she said, this year I'm working directly with math and social studies. I have a counterpart to take over ELA. Our math data, as you can see, is trending very well over the last 3 years. We've been able to also decrease our beginning level in the red, and we've also increased our distinguished and our proficient in the dark green and green. You can see major jumps in 8th grade from 2025, where we have more than half of the grade level this distinguished. Remember that is not just gifted learners. We have a lot of students who are scoring distinguished and proficient as well. We have a lot of our subgroups over the last couple of years. You see our data as well. We were already doing great with 74 distinguished. We did amazing last year at 92% distinguished. And we have 96% distinguished. So we've done amazing. growth across the department. We're just very proud. We're able to, that's one of our
Ms.
biggest.
Moore, I think I'm getting messages that the audio is having issues. You might have to turn off your camera so that the audio can come through better. Sorry for interrupting. Try talking
Is it
now.
better?
Yes. I thought it was just my computer. I do apologize. So you might want to start over. They're eager to
Okay.
hear
So
all the things.
again, my name is Marquita Moore, as a teacher leader for specifically math and social studies this year. This is my third year at David T. Howard. This is our math data over the last 3 years. So as you can see, we also have made gains by decreasing our beginning level learners in all 3 grade levels. We have increased the number of students who are scoring distinguished and proficient in all 3 grade levels. Specifically in 8th grade, you see we've gone from 33% to 55% in distinguished specifically. And that's not just gifted learners. We have students who are non-gifted in our on-level grade level classes in 8th grade. Speaking to algebra, we were already doing amazing with 74% of students scoring, distinguished. We've gone from 74% all the way to 96. So we've done a lot of great work, so much so that we were able to be recognized with a banner that now hangs in the gym. So we are just really excited about all the things that are coming our way in the math department. I know that it is a sticking point in our community, but as you can see by our data, we are doing an amazing job.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. It has been a very, very good year. I think that everyone has been working really hard in order to meet the needs of the students and expectations of the community. And I just want to really celebrate, especially those gains in 8th grade math, to have 55% of our population score distinguished. That does include the students who were taking algebra, but as you can see, to get to 55%, we had to get some other students in that umbrella as well. So great job to all of our math teachers. I know that this last year was kind of challenging initially as we transitioned through administrations and expectations around how assessments or where assessments would be created. And I think that we more than responded well as a school to those challenges. So great job to the students and teachers. I just really think it is awesome, the data that we've been able to accomplish in my tenure here. And so just like with ELA, I want to just give an overall number. We ended the year with 68% of our students at proficient or above, which is awesome because it's not a large gap between how students are faring with ELA and how they're doing with math. So great job to the students and the team. Now we go into our science data. And again, we're just doing overall data for the school. And remember that science only affects 8th graders. Social studies only affects 8th graders in middle school. And we give 2 tracks for that. Our high school physical science has to take the EOC, and then our 8th grade science, which is still physical science, but it's on grade physical science, it takes the EOG. So as you can see, our data is trending in the positive direction with the percentage of students scoring the single proficient and above increasing over the last 3 years. And I'm very excited about what is going to happen this year because we added an additional science teacher to our 8th grade team. Social studies, as you can see as well, is trending in the positive direction as well. And in both cases, especially for on grade level in science and social studies, you can see a large jump, a significant jump of 6% for distinguished. So when you compare how we've done over the years, and I'm going back to pre-COVID data, so Emmons data in 2019 here, all the way to where we are currently. As you can see in math, we are actually trending higher than we did when Inman was here. So pre-COVID data, we have already superseded those values, and we're really close to hitting it for
Lady,
ELA.
where you used to go in there and come out that way.
Right.
We're close to meeting that same metric for ELA. As you can see, for science and social studies, we are trending above what the pre-COVID data was for Inman. So we are excited about that. I hope that parents really see what has happened and really love on our teachers. You know, we make it hard during the year because everybody's really eager to ensure that the students are prepared. And I'm happy to report that in the first week for our last year's 8th grade class, which, you know, are freshmen at Midtown, they did not have any disciplinary issues. All the kids are in class and engaged, and so they're continuing their great work over at the high school. Before I go into other things, this is going to be our last data slide on the milestones. So I'm going to pause so that if there are any questions concerning data, we can address those at this time. And you can come off mute or type it in the chat if you have any questions or comments. All right, so I don't hear any. Ms. Moore, Ms. Williams, are there any in the chat?
I don't see anything in the chat as it relates to data, other than someone asked to read the scores as a grade cohort. What do you look at? 23, 6 to 24, 7 to 25, 8. See improvement over time. And I responded that yes, that's how you would see the cohort.
Yes. All right, great. So we're going to move on to our signature program. This year, after consulting with our feeder elementary schools and determining what their themes are around STEAM, we want to create more cohesiveness as the students progress through the Midtown cluster so that they can see cohesion in all of our programs. So we decided to go with the theme sustainability by design, building a better tomorrow. So our focus is on recycling, which if you were here last year, we did that recycling partnership with the Hawks and Novellas. And we learned that aluminum water bottles are easier to recycle than the plastic ones. So that was very exciting for the kids in the competition there. We're also really focused on our garden. If you've driven by on the Randolph side of the school, you can see our raised garden beds that have been producing vegetation over the summer, so it's doing really well. And then we're really trying to hone in on ensuring that all students participate in fairs. So we will have our science fair in November. Parents should have received a letter from the school or the teachers explaining the science fair and expected participation. Please do not let financial restraints cause issues. We can figure out how to get boards if it's through PTO grants or whatever we need to do, but we do want all students to participate and believe in STEAM. We also increased our number of field trips. And if you recall, our field trips are traditionally tied to STEAM, our signature program. And this year we're going to be doing two field trips per grade level around STEAM. We also figured out a way to absorb a great amount of the cost through our general funds so that we can ensure that the costs stay reasonable for all parents. So we're looking at only asking for $25 for sixth, $15 for seventh graders, and $10 for eighth graders because we know eighth graders have end of year expenses as well. As you can see there, the end of year expenses, we're looking at $145 for Six Flags. If you want to go to Six Flags and everything else we do, and then without Six Flags, we had to increase it to $65 in order to ensure that we have enough money for the field day and all the other things, and we'll explain what those things are as we get closer to the end. I do want to point out that eighth grade does do a social studies field trip because that's Georgia Studies, and they go to Pickett's Mill Battlefield where they go to an actual battlefield that was I don't want to say used, but where the battle happened during the Civil War. So that's kind of exciting for the kids, and they really enjoy that. And we're trying to figure out how to do some walking field trips in our area because we are blessed to be in a space where we're up the street from the MLK Center and up the street from the Carter Center. So we're trying to figure out how to incorporate those as well. So our next big topic is, personal electronic devices. I feel like I've been talking about it ever since I first arrived. We've been doing Away for the Day, and that is still what we are leaning towards. We're just enhancing the consequences for violations. So when we talk about discipline, when I bring that up next month at the principal's coffee, violations for cell phones being visible and used at that time, and not just cell phones. When you use your watch as a cell phone, iPods, any device that is a distraction from engagement in classes, those will all fall under there. As you can see here, and we've been communicating since May, and especially because of the bill that was passed by the state, we are leaning in to the consequences a little bit more. And we've had, actually, I think last time I checked Friday, it was like 6 incidents with cell phones, but we'll be tracking that through our behavior management platform now. So at the end of the year, it was brought to us through GoTeam that we wanted to survey staff and community families around personal electronic devices at Howard, and if the Away for the Day platform that we have been using was effective, because there was a lot of conversations around pouches and my reluctance to spend $40 per pupil on pouches, which would have been kind of challenging since, if you have not heard, our enrollment was projected at 1115, and we talked about this on GoTeam. And right now, well, I'm not going to say right now, last night, our enrollment was sitting at 1193, I think. And so if we would have bought pouches for projections, we wouldn't have had enough. So this is the staff data. As you can see, those are examples of the questions that were asked the staff. It was similar to the questions that were asked of the community. And what we found is that most teachers do not collect phones, which means that the students, for the most part, do not use those devices in classes. Most teachers found that the Away for the Day policy was effective. A few did not find it effective, but when they did not find it effective, it was dealing with the other devices, not the cell phone specifically. When we look at how our parents and community members responded, we got 184 responses. It was given at the end of last school year. Parents agreed that the Away for the Day policy was effective or neutral about it. they were aware, most of them were aware that smartwatches would count as a device if they are used as devices. And I love the third bullet that parents are rarely or never communicate with their child during school hours. That is not how it started, right? So it's good to know that having Away for the Day for a couple of years has curbed our parents from engaging with students during the day. And then most parents support generally limitations on devices, which we knew because we've been focusing on making sure that our classrooms have students that are actively engaged. And I'm going to pause to see if there are any questions that we need to answer before we go into what the district family engagement office is requiring me to go into for the rest of this meeting. Questions or comments at this time?
Allie, to answer your question, that was 184 parents and 54 teachers out of a lot of people.
I asked the question in the chat about the science fair information that was sent to the parents. If there's a way to review that again and have that information available again, since we did not receive that communication.
No problem. Thank you for lifting that. What we can do is just send the letter to all through Messenger and Remind. So what we're trying to do is, I know parents sometimes get a little annoyed getting the same message through different platforms, but some people have disabled certain platforms, and we're trying to make sure that the information gets out. So we will post it in Schoology, use Remind and IC Messenger by close of business tomorrow to communicate that letter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Principal Hollis, someone asked about tell us whether it was approved. It was mentioned by a teacher.
What is TELUS?
I imagine they're referring to TELUS Museum as a field trip.
Oh, no, it was not. It was too far and it would require too many logistical things to happen on the middle school level. First of all, the kids would not be able to leave the location till like 9:45, 10 o'clock. The actual location would take us an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to. And we have to get back by a certain time so buses can start picking up elementary students for their routes. So that would leave us only a couple of hours to enjoy.
Someone asked, just to be clear, if a child has a smartwatch on clock with all other functions blocked, the policy dictates that the teacher will still take the watch away from the student. Just making sure we understand.
Actually, that is not what we do. If they have the smartwatch on and it is in clock function only, the teachers will not bother that child. All right. So let's go into the 30-page slide deck that the district gave me to present to you all that I trimmed down. Okay. As you know, these are the people that are leading the teachers and the students during the day. I am Taki Childs, the principal. We have introduced our master teacher leaders. Our STEAM coach is Dr. Shelton Griffith. And then going back up to our assistant principals, I'm not sure if they're able to be on, but they are Ms. Willingham for 6th grade, Dr. Owens for 7th grade, and Dr. Harper for 8th grade. Our school business manager is still Miss Sabia. All things questions about logistics and is the liaison between the school and our parent organization. We have our same social worker, Ms. Randolph, and we have a couple new people for student support in our what used to be called our special education lead teacher is now called our exceptional education lead teacher, and that is Ms. Riggins. And our 504 SST specialist, I'll add it to the slide, is now Dr. Suddeth, if we can put that in the chat. And she will be helping with 504s and SST. And then our great counselors, one of them being our support person of the year, Ms. Scott, who's our 6th grade counselor. And then we have our 7th grade counselor, Dr. Totman, and our 8th grade counselor, Ms. Williams. So what does it mean to have a academic family partnerships? It means that the schools and families partner with the purpose of students thriving in all directions or in all parts of life. So in order to do that, we need to make sure that our families understand the students' data, that our families and teachers understand our academic goals and set academic goals specific to students, and that we build meaningful relationships between the data and the goals. We have our parent right to know, which is just a letter that lets you know that you have a right to ask about the teacher's qualifications, like are they certified in Georgia? And I ensure you that all of them are, what degrees they have, and if they're teaching with special approval. Parent Portal is your way to see all things announcements, like I said before, any messages we send, assignment grades, not the assignment specifically, but the grades, the attendance, whether or not your child is coming to class on time or if they are tardy. And then just their schedule for classes, the order in which they go to classes, which varies by day here at David T. Howard, because remember, we are on the rotating academic course schedule. So the only schedule that is alike is on Monday and Friday, and it's every other Friday because Connections rotates as well. So please, please, please ensure that you have access to Parent Portal, and the district's hub now is also offering parent I don't want to call it professional learning, but classes to help you navigate Parent Portal and what it can do for you. Curriculum updates, which was the impetus to us adding a master teacher leader to the school. We have new standards in ELA. We are using new curriculum because of the new standards, and that is HMH. And we have a new way of engaging with our teaching and learning team through what they say is Candy. So we are all focused on ensuring that we have high quality ELA programming. And I will be remiss if I did not say, we do not currently have enough hard copies for all the students in the building. So we have been working with the district since end of July to ensure that we have enough books and actually teachers' guides for our current staff and student population. They are working on getting more books. If you watched the board meeting, they did request more funds to ensure that we can get that. In the meantime, we do have access to the books via my backpack. And we were able to distribute the new devices, brand new Lenovo Chromebooks on Friday morning. What changed with this new curriculum? it really is helping students engage with media differently than they did before. So trying to think about multimodal ways of engaging in words and reading. So it can't just be, I read a book or I did this, but how do I merge the different ways that we engage with written and verbal knowledge through books, articles, poems, notes, what am I thinking? Like the cartoons and videos and podcasts and all other ways that we communicate nowadays. And so the standards have actually incorporated all these things. Something that also is big this year and we're going to engage with differently is the state test. Because of the new standards, the state test will look different. Eighth graders are the only ones that have to do the extended writing piece essay, and that essay is not going to be specific to one genre, but like we write as adults, where we take all kinds of genres and make it into one, meaning that when you listen to any speech, we might have a little narrative. Let me tell a story so you can relate to what I'm trying to tell you about. I'm going to give you some facts and I'm going to argue my point. So it's all in one, and that's how they'll be writing. Sixth and seventh grade will be doing peer reviews in their testing environment, so they will not be doing an essay. The student handbook, which also includes the code of conduct, is here through this link, and it has been updated for this school year to include the PED changes that have happened. I will really strongly suggest, especially our sixth grade families, to go and peruse this handbook, because consequences change, the severity of the consequences change as you get to secondary, which now you are in secondary. 6 through 12 is considered secondary. So where the resolutions or consequences would not be as severe for the same infraction in elementary, it does hold a higher weight when we get to secondary, and we try to adhere to the handbook as it is written. This also gives you information on the calendar, because student calendar change. We have now embedded digital, I don't even know what they call it anymore. I'll call it digital learning days, but I'm sure that's not the term that they use. Those are embedded. We have the half days that are embedded in there as well. So please peruse this. And once you've done so, if you can do the statement in Parent Portal that tells us that you have read it, and that will help us to keep track of who we need to target to ask to read it. And that also gives me a chance to remember that our digital device agreement, we did send them home by paper, but we would love for you to do it digitally. And it should, now that you have the devices, allow you to pay for the $26 for insurance. So from my understanding, the first incident with the device, won't have a cost. Beyond that first incident with the device, you will have a cost. And so that $26 up front allows you to not worry about middle schoolers who may forget things or not really be as careful as they used to be in elementary and will be in high school, to ensure that that is not negatively impacting families financially. Oh, we talked about this. Oh, I'm sorry. This gives me a chance to pause to see if there are any questions while you reread what we've already talked about. Questions or comments at this time?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I also placed my question in the chat, but my question is specific to when the students receive defective computers. Last year, my daughter received, I believe it was 2 defective Chromebooks. So whose responsibility then would it be to remedy that issue if when she receives it, not working or she encounters some issue, during the school year, would that go under the insurance or would that be the school's responsibility?
It would never be the school's responsibility, the school district's responsibility, maybe. That is dependent on what is happening. I will let you know that all the devices are brand new right now, so nobody should have received a defective device. They are all brand new and were delivered at the end of July, but we also have device rules as far as how to report something's wrong. And if you go under Rams Life on the website, then there's something called student device information. I will drop that link there, but it gives you all the ways that we will assist and help to remedy those issues.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Someone asked, who should we contact for Chromebook login issues? Our 8th grader has not been able to log in after several repeated attempts.
If it continues as it did previously, that would be 404-802-1000. But if this is a parent that emailed me late last night that I was going back and forth with, I do have that on my list of things to do. So we will try to ensure that the student is able to log in before they leave. Because I don't see a name attached.
Right. Someone asked about kids' abilities after school to reach websites on the computer.
You want to be more specific?
So that was me. I had asked, thank you for answering this question. I had asked if the safety control on reaching predatory websites and games lasts the whole day, including after school, or if the kids have the ability to surf the web and reach various websites in a different way than during the day.
I don't want to misrepresent the answer on that one. I believe that the Chromebook itself is restricted, but let us get back to you on that answer. I know that there are what is it called? Like I can't think of the word right now. Restrictions based on it being on the network at school. But let me get further clarity on if it extends beyond the school day. I would presume that it does, because like if a child is still, if they're looking for certain things or speaking in a certain way, we still get reports around safety issues on the weekend, late at night. So I would presume it does, but let me find out for sure and we will email you back.
Okay, I appreciate that. I just want to know if I need to put any additional safety controls since the Chromebook has to come home.
Right. I don't think you do, like I said, the lingo that our children use now sometimes has negative connotations that, if taken out of context, it means something different than what we perceive it to mean. And we get alerts on that kind of stuff all night, all weekend. So I would presume that it's still monitoring.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments or questions as we finish out?
I had a quick question. Where exactly does one pay for the device insurance?
Great question. My short answer is I'm not sure. There was a paper that was sent home, and on that device agreement page, if it's not located there, we can definitely update our website to answer that question, because I'm sure other parents are curious too. But from my understanding,
because I signed that document online, I signed the document, I checked the box, I will pay $27, but I didn't see anywhere where you actually could pay it or how you would pay it.
And you're not the first person to ask. I feel like they were collecting the information to send that out because,
Okay.
some schools are still getting the devices delivered this week. But I could be wrong there as well. So let me ask, and then we'll update that device web page for us
Okay.
so that we can answer that question because all parents want to know.
Yeah, I just want to get that paid for before something happens. Thank you.
I understand. I had to pay the insurance cost or whatever for my child last year. She was in gym and the basketball hit the screen and it cracked. And I was like, really? Why was your why was your device near where the basketball could hit the screen? But that's neither here nor there. I love to give my little stories about my life as a middle school parent. I'm so excited to be a high school parent right now. Any other questions?
Hi, yes. I just wanted clarity around the late bus arrivals. I did put it in the chat, but I want to know for sure because my son is telling me conflicting information. His bus arrived late at the school. He's telling me that he's not being able to have breakfast. Instead, they're pushing him on to advisory, and that just kind of concerns me because he's not late by way of car, he's on school transportation. So what accommodations are being made for the late arrivals?
I would answer that question. I was down there today and the kids that came in late, we do push them on, but if they need to eat, the lines are still open for them to eat. And there were students that were sitting down eating breakfast. So it would depend on how late, because at some point in time, the cafeteria staff has to switch from serving to preparing for lunch for possibly almost 1,200 people to eat. But we did also send a message to transportation today, because even if the bus is not, we didn't have any extremely late buses besides like the second day of school. The buses do arrive by 9:15-ish, but that's late because school starts at 9:15. So we're trying to track how often the buses are arriving that late, and we are sending that to transportation as they try to settle out routes and ensuring that the kids get here in a certain amount of time.
And I may be able to add to that, Ms. Hollis, because I'm in the cafeteria in the mornings. Typically, I will signal the cafeteria line that we've cleared all buses and they can go ahead and close the line down. So even though we have buses arriving late at 9:10, 9:12, we don't close the line until all of the kids have come in and decided whether they're going to actually go to the line to get breakfast or head on upstairs to class.
Okay, I'll remind him that he is able to. I don't think that the bus is arriving that late. We're here by the Parkway Andrea Park. It's the only bus on the route. So I'm just like, it seems to be about a 5 to 7 minute transition to the school. So I'm like, how late could you be arriving for you to be denied? So I'll just go over with him that he can indeed get in line.
And it could have been, the answer of the first week of school. We are going to clear the cafeteria because there's some people that's been there since we opened the doors at 8. We need them to transition. And so as he's seeing the masses transition to class, he might on his own make that determination that I can't eat. And that's not the case. All right, so let's go ahead and finish these last couple of slides. Oh, here we are about Securely. That's the app, and it looks like there is a parent version that allows real-time insight into your child's online activity on that school-issued device. So, Mom, that was asking that question. I'm not sure if it blocks it, but you're able to monitor it. And there's a QR code there, and I will be loading these slides to the website by close of business today. APS Cares, it is a way for community to find resources that helps them with housing, financial assistance, mental health, childcare, employment, and legal support and other things. And you can go to this website to find any help and support that you may need. And so again, I will post these slides so that people can have access to this information. Ways to volunteer. If you go to the PTO's website, there is a sign up link for you to request the ability to volunteer. But the biggest way to volunteer is the tardy desk. We have a tardy desk for car riders and walkers, bike riders in the morning, because bus riders don't really need the tardy because it's like you said, it's not their fault. So we allow those students to get excused and normally we'll give them a bus pass to let teachers know that's why they are late. But those who are not under those constraints, we need volunteers to help us to manage giving tardy slips to those who are arriving late due to whatever reasons that might occur in households. Another way for us to volunteer, we give monthly attendance incentives to those students who are able to attain perfect attendance for the month. That is a great way to come during lunch and see how the kids interact with each other. You would not be able to interact with the children, but you can see and you'll be able to interact by passing out these incentives that we give out monthly. And then signing up in that space allows you to be notified of when other opportunities arise. And we already talked about joining a parent network from the school's perspective at the beginning of the meeting, but this is how you join from the district's perspective, parent university and parent ambassador team. And that is through the APS family engagement team. And that QR there allows you to scan and get information or use a form to sign up for those things.
There was a parent's question, concern. Late arriving bus transportation is also tricky. If a bus arrives between 9:10, 9:15, students have to visit their locker still and then arrive late to advisory/class without a pass. Is there a way to either give an on-time but almost late bus arriving students a locker pass to remove this concern, or communicate with teachers to give grace until 9:20? Negotiating a late arrival plus stairs, building travel, plus locker, class readiness, and not getting a tardy from a teacher.
So we still have to track attendance. So you would still get that tardy. What normally happens is that in our system, we go back and document if it was a bus tardy. So attendance is a legal record. And so we cannot say they're not tardy. We can change it to why they're tardy in the system. But teachers are aware of, and we let them know when there's a late bus so that they are aware that all those things have to occur before the child gets to class. I'm not sure if that answered the question completely. If you would like to come off mute, you can. The way that we communicate with parents, as I said before, we have Remind, and then we have our RAMS report given through PTO, where we give information so it can be in a consolidated space. We have our calendar, our website, all the things that we talk about. We try to make sure that it is on our website and our website is up to date, except for the clubs right now, because we're trying to get the information from sponsors, and it will be updated by August 25th since they don't start until after Labor Day. Everything else is typically at the bottom of the RAMS report. And we also give a monthly newsletter called The Scoop, and we send that out through our various parent communication. avenues. So goal setting and goal setting for academics and attendance are included in our continuous improvement plan goals. And we understand that parents also have goals. So please, please, please communicate via email to your teachers if you have some personal things that you would like the teacher to attend to as it relates to their content area, or if it might be attendance related or behavioral related that you're trying to just monitor. We have open lines of communication. It is expected that teachers respond within 48 business hours, but 48 hours, so business days, so 2 business days. And please ensure that we know absence is related to illness. And you can do that by emailing DTH attendance so we can know if it is a medical or illness related absence, and we can alert our teachers so they can know as well.
So when a child is sick, you're saying that, and they didn't go to the doctor, just say, for example, they threw up the morning before class and we decided to keep them home, we still report that?
Yes.
Okay.
And if that's why you're keeping them home, because they were sick, but it was enough to take them to a doctor. It could have been food poisoning, 24-hour bug.
Yes.
Yeah, we still want to know.
Okay.
Because the missed assignments and things like that, it just.
And where do we go again? To
You just send an email to dthattendance@apsk12.org.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted to ensure that parents knew what our strategic plan is as a district. So this is a district snapshot of what Dr. Johnson is focusing his efforts on. And you can read that there. From a school perspective, it feels like more, or teacher perspective, I'm not gonna say school. Teacher perspective, the ones in Black really kind of focuses on teachers' duties and responsibilities, and then whole school and district-based are the ones in red. So from a teacher's perspective, strengthening their instructional core, making sure they have high quality, relevant, engaging instructional materials and activities for students to do. Caring for every child and focusing on strategies that reduce chronic absenteeism. And I do want to point out that the school's CCRPI attendance rate increased, which means our chronic absenteeism decreased. And it went up by about 2%, almost 3%. So I'm very, very proud of the efforts that we as a school have done in order to decrease chronic absenteeism. And then sparking student curiosity, so promoting arts and athletics and world language and enrichment, ensuring that they are ready for what is coming next in their lives. So the goal specifically is to increase by 2030 the percent of students scoring proficient and above on ELA in 3rd grade, by 20% or above for district, by 2030 for math in 8th grade. And then by 2030, an increase of the percentage of students meeting at least one CCRPI, college and career readiness indicator, by 20 percentage points. Specific to the school, as we said when we showed the data, we want to increase our goals in order to help the district meet their goals by 5% in ELA and numeracy. So going from 73% proficient and above to 78%, and numeracy going from 68% to 73%. And then focus on our subgroups specifically, and that data is there. And we would like to maintain our chronic absenteeism rate, because 90% is very high for a middle school inner city. And so our goal is to maintain that while still trying to increase our subgroup data. We know that the students need to be here to learn. And so we're trying to, push a sense of belonging and emphasize that in order for children to get to school in middle school, we need parents' help with that. And so therefore it is a partnership between us and the families. And we are aware that these goals are ambitious, but if we can keep that chronic absenteeism rate down, then we can aim towards the sky because it helps the kids, and that's who we're here for ultimately. And this is from, again, the Office of Family Engagement. So when you scan this to be entered into this $50 raffle, please do not email, let's talk, or do anything towards David T. Howard Middle School. This is a slide from the Office of Family Engagement. So please scan if you would like to get resources, and that would, once you answer those questions and get feedback, you'll get an opportunity to be entered into a $50 raffle. And so the last slide is just when the next principal copy is, which is September 11th. So while we're giving people an opportunity to scan the QR code, if you have any questions or would like to come off mute and make comments, this is the time to do so as we wrap up. I do see how much time do sixth graders typically have to eat after they wait in the cafeteria line. Right. We give 30 minutes to eat lunch for all grades. Some days the line is longer than others. Anything else that I'm missing?
There's lots. Someone asked if we can put written links as well as QR codes, because sometimes the scanned QR codes are not clear enough for their phone.
Now we're gonna put this on the website, so it'll be accessible at that time. These are not our generated QRs.
There were some questions about insurance, but I think that's not ours to lift. Is there one communication site that can be used to communicate with school administrators? Because I have many websites and apps, which is a lot to remember who's going to get what message. Any suggestions?
Yes, you can use Who to Call. It's the directory on the website, and I can go to the website and it lets you know who you can call and who you should call or email based on the need. The sixth grade families heard me say the same thing all the time at the boot camp. Go to the website, go to the website, go to the website. So if you go to the website under caregivers and you see Who to Call directory, it will give you a list of, depending on what your need is, who you should contact, and the hyperlink is an email address.
Someone asked, who do we speak with about lunch times? How many sixth graders are there in total?
437 sixth graders. There's nobody you can speak to. Lunch is 30 minutes. All 437 are not eating lunch. Actually, I think total we have less than 400 kids that actually go through the lunch line daily.
I think that's all the things from the chat.
Well, as we conclude the meeting, if anyone has any thoughts, questions, concerns, comments that they would like to share. I'm going to stop streaming.